when he calls you out on your situationship. What a unique situation to be in, but it happens more than you might think. If it's happening to you, it feels awful. I want to help you navigate it because it is possible to take a situationship or a friends with benefits, whatever you want to call it, to a fully committed relationship. Yes, it is possible. As the former, well, he's passed away now, a great inspirational speaker used to say, if any human ever in the history of humanity has done something, it is possible. That doesn't make it probable, however. And you are going a little bit against the grain, and the probability that the man can think of you, see you, conceptualize you, feel about you the way he needs to feel, and be inspired to have a fully committed relationship with you from a situationship. But I can tell you this, if you do what I'm about to tell you, even though it's incredibly tough, you can get the results you want with the man you want. Because if he's in a situationship with you now, there is absolutely part of it that he likes and wants. We know that. And you can actually inspire him to have interest and want more and potentially grow a relationship when you do it in this fashion. This is the important. It's not if, it's more how and what you do. So, in this video, I am going to give you from a live that I did with a 80/20 Wonder Club member who came on and talked to me anonymously, as always, because I value people talking to me anonymously. And I figured out a way for you, if you are a member of the 80/20 Wonder Club, to talk to me on these lives. You will do it anonymously. It's a easy two-step process. You give my assistant your anonymous name as a club member and anonymous name for your guy, and you're good to go. And I get to know you and help you more uniquely, in detail, rather than a one size fits all. Because relationships, like anything else, there are some general overall concepts that are extremely valuable, foundational principles you must understand. But then there's always the details, and the devil's in the details. So I want to be that angel for you and help you overcome those devilish details and guide a man from a situationship, friends with benefits, etc., to true, complete commitment. It is possible. So this video is going to be a part replay of that live, and I'm going to give my commentary on it. So stay tuned for that. But before we go any further, who am I to talk about this? If you do not know me, I am Coach Paula Grooms, a dating and relationship coach for women, licensed social worker, and author of the book, Why Won't He Commit? How a Man Decides to Make You the One. I coach you to find a Mr. Right, get an ex back, or grow an existing relationship or situationship, to create the relationship of your dreams so that you level up and get the complete commitment you totally deserve. So, as I was telling you, this live that I just did last week had an 80/20 Wonder Club member. And if you don't know it, there's details about the 80/20 Wonder Club below, and also on the playlist of Make Him Wonder, which is here on YouTube as well. That's my podcast where I have real live coaching conversations with women who share their journeys so that I can coach them and you can hear those discussions and help yourself by the objective hearing and understanding of their situations. So Katt came on just last week to talk more about her situationship, of which I'm aware. And so this is a discussion about what she needed to do when she was called out by her guy on the situationship. And it's a great way for you to conceptualize and understand what you may need to be doing in your own situation. So I'm going to pull this up, and you're going to hear part of this. I will be giving my commentary on it, and you will get more from my doing that as well. So let's take a look here. All right, good. Glad you were here. Thank you for sharing your story. And you can do this. And I'm going to go on to, you're welcome. Great to talk to you. Katt. There's a little. Are you there?
Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, make sure to speak up.
Okay, all right.
Can everybody hear Katt? Type yes in the chat if you can hear Katt. Yeah, you can see the chat over here and people giving her support, which I love. So, Katt. Yay! Jamara says yes.
For
Good.
letting me join tonight.
Yes. What's going on?
I really appreciate it also.
Sure.
Well, also listening to the previous person was really helpful. And what you kind of said, you know, when a man gives an excuse, receive it, accept it.
Mm-hmm.
Super tough sometimes to do that.
What we're talking about here is that the previous caller in this live, and you can go and see this live, I will put the link in the description below. She, or maybe we were talking about, you know, if a man ever gives an excuse to not be seeing you, and this was propagated by something related to asking to see him or what have you, and he has any excuse, you just have to accept that. Certainly, because as we know, it's not the best thing to be asking in the first place. And you have to show in a way that I'm cool with that. I have my own life going on. I'm fine with that. You have to have an inner attitude and inner knowing, like, okay, his loss. So let's hear more of what she's saying here.
In the moment, but like just hearing that, you really gotta hold that in your head. And I also feel like I related to the breadcrumb king. I have one of those also.
Okay. So what's happening right now for you? Because I know your story a little bit too.
So kind of a lot has happened since my story. So right now, basically, I think you know, like the other girl had said, I kind of I know things that you said. I have your head in your voice in my head, and I haven't taken a back step like this in a month, and I backstep. So I'm, you know, in the doghouse. Sorry, let me get my thoughts here. I basically reached out. Yeah, that's where it really lies. I was waiting to hear when we were going to spend time together, and he had assured me, let me check my schedule, let me get back to you.
So you reached out asking to see him?
Yes.
Okay. So, yeah, have you fallen into that it seems like you fall into that pattern.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that's a problem.
Yeah.
It's a big problem because, and here's specifically for him, because I know the situation that we talked about in the beginning of this video. We talked about Freud's Madonna whore dichotomy and how foundational is in men. Make no mistake that every man has it, but depending upon culture, religion, family of origin, maybe just the I would say it's a learned thing. What I'm talking about here is, if you don't know it, Freud's Madonna whore dichotomy. And this is foundational in every man, that men tend to put us in one category or another. It used to be called Freud's Madonna whore complex. But because it's so pervasive in the male brain, they've changed the wording Madonna whore dichotomy. Not my wording. Don't like the terms, but it's about being either in the male mind, relationship, girlfriend, wife, mother material, as in Madonna, Mother Mary, or the opposite, which I hate the word whore. And this is so foundational in the male animal, the male brain, that men just put us in that category, and we have to be careful to be put in the right category from the outset, or we set ourselves up for being put in the second category. And unfortunately for Katt, her man is very high up on the scale of adhering to the black and whiteness of the Madonna whore dichotomy. Meaning, there are some men who are more fluid with it. While, yes, they have it to one degree or another, knowing the situation with this man, I know it's very profound for him from the things he has said to her. And this situationship simply reinforces him putting her in that category despite himself, because we're going to talk about the fact that he has real feelings for Katt. And that's what's a shame here, because she's a breath away, one hair away from actually making this happen and go the distance. But she's hurting herself by what she's doing. So let's hear more. It's very important that you understand that this man has it to a very high level on the scale.
Yeah.
And you are feeding into that. You're not going to be in the right category for commitment if that's what you want with him.
Yeah, I can kind of right. I guess I should probably fast forward a little and just share with you. We were on the phone last night, and that conversation, it had to do with, he said Friday, let's try for Friday. And
when he said, hold on one second, when he said, let's try for Friday, were you the one that initiated you wanted to see him?
Yeah.
Yeah. You see, you have to understand that for the man, it's a bit emasculating. You're not letting him drive it. It's like you always driving the car. The two of you are going out.
Yeah.
See?
I hate that. Yeah, it's a good
analogy, right? Because he wants to drive.
Yeah.
So if you're always, taking the keys and getting in the driver's seat, no. So you're on the phone with him. See, it's you that your programming is such that if I don't ask, he won't. I won't see him. I won't have my love interest. And you have anxious attachment quite a bit. Correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, this is a big one here. Very big. Because you've probably heard the adage, what we fear, we create. And because of Katt's avowed anxious attachment, she is creating the very thing she doesn't want. That is by going after him and asking for his time, attention, and affection. And with a lot of anxiously attached folks, we tend to go towards the avoidantly attached guy. And her guy is definitely one. And we talk about that. I think we get into it here.
Yes.
And it's hurting you big time. You're on the phone with him. Here's something that I think for you, Katt, it just went ding, ding, ding in my head that will help you a lot. Be in the moment with him. You're on the phone with him. Enjoy that conversation. Allow. He's talking to me. He's spending energy towards me. He's giving me his energy and time. You see? And then let him drive it. And then you have to, go ahead.
This is what happened, and I had no idea what to say. He flat out asked me, we talked about Friday for maybe a minute, and I suggested doing something different than watching a movie and sleeping together. And he said, that sounds like a date. We're just, casual. And I said, and then he said to me, Katt, what are we doing? He said, what are we doing? Mm-hmm. But he asked me in a genuine, he wasn't, to me, I stayed calm. I wasn't sure what to say. I said, I don't really want to talk about this right now. I think that's a bigger conversation. Maybe we can talk about it on Friday. And then I said that, and I think he kind of pushed it a little bit. And then,
you see, right there, it's very important to not skirt it and put it off, because that is reinforcing for the man that you are just a go-to girl. Really tough to be in this situationship whereby he's calling you out. I want to play the rest of this, and then we get into what would have been better. But right off the bat, you should recognize that Katt is still pushing for them to get together on Friday in this instance, whereby he just said, he called her out. What are we doing? You're going to hear more. It gets more.
And I couldn't, the conversation it blew up. The entire conversation blew up, and because I was kind of upset, I started overthinking in my head. This is just sex, and he's asking me where this is going or what we're doing. And my fear initially was, this is going to end tonight, and he's asking me what we're doing. And as soon as I tell him that I don't think this is just sex, that he's going to say we can't do this anymore. What I did say was, I said, do you really think that I am the type of woman to just be casual? I think that you know me well enough, and that's really not all that I want here. And he said, yes, I do know that, but I'm also not sure if you just want to, if you want to sleep, if you want to have sex like all the time, maybe that's just,
Okay. So, right, I want to stop here because it's really important. One thing we must know is a foundational thing that's in my book. And for those of you who know me, you hear me repeat it all the time because we need reminding of this. Women relate via verbalization. Men relate via action. So no matter what you say, he's only going to go by what he has seen you do. And this adds to it. Here's the issue. Remember this saying, write it down, sear it in your memory. What you do with him, he thinks you could do, would do, or are doing with all men. Now, we know that couldn't be farther from the truth. It's not true. But this is part of the whole Madonna whore dichotomy. So he thinks if you could do what you're doing with him, you can, would, or are doing with all men. That can be so mind-blowing and ridiculous to us. But because men could be doing with you or with all women what he does with you, he absolutely feels you could do that when you've shown him from the beginning that you are in the second category of Freud's dichotomy. He automatically believes. So even though he said here, he said, I do know that. It's something he kind of knows conceptually because he knows she's just with him in a sense because they've talked about it way, way too much. And she continues to show him that she will accept less than girlfriend, committed, monogamous, not dating others relationship. That's the category he continues to put her in. So make no mistake, he's saying yes, but he's still putting Katt in that category. And here, the evidence is right here. But I think, because of what you're showing me, that you just want this for the sex. So let's hear what else she says about it.
He said, I'm starting to feel, I'm asking what we're doing because I'm starting to feel, I've been feeling bad about it. And I don't know, I don't think this is going I'm feeling bad that we're sleeping together and I don't feel like I want more.
Okay, so what happened? So before we go into that, Katt and I talked before about this, and it's really important that you have to understand that a good man who does have some amount of respect for you, he does not feel good about knowing you want more. You have a certain feeling, but you continue to accept the situationship. Now that can seem oxymoronic because it's like, well, why then doesn't he just stop it? That's kind of like asking a heroin addict to stop shooting up when the needle's this close to the vein and somebody's right there with the heroin going to go into the vein. That's a kind of harsh analogy, but it's true. You're asking a man not to accept, and in this case, I know for Katt, going over there, it's easy for him having the sex. And yes, he feels a little guilty and wrong about it, but he feels guilty and wrong about the heroin too, you see? But in the moment, doesn't have enough willpower to say no to it. This is what's at play here, and you must understand. So a good man will, when he's not right in front of you, they're on the phone, right? We're in text. He will call you out on it because he wants the out. Please stop giving me the heroin so I can stop this because I know it's wrong. And he's trying to be good. Yeah. This is what's too bad about it. Because this can change, but in this instance, Katt must be the one to instigate the change by being the change herself and getting the self-worth, self-concept, manifesting what it is that she wants. He is there. We go into this more, but I wanted to give you that back part of it. Here we go.
When I say the conversation blew up, it was a 3-hour conversation.
Oh my gosh.
He was upset. He was mad. He was on his way going into the gym. I was upset with myself because for the past month, I haven't approached this topic. I haven't asked him about.
Well, he did.
Any other way.
He did because you're not, Katt, because I know the last time we talked, I told you, you can have this.
Yeah.
If you change. I'm telling you, you can have it. I know you can. By everything you've said, he stayed on the phone with you. You push. You've allowed yourself to morph back into a situationship rather than do the tough work to make it morph into relationship, which there was a timeline when he gave you the gifts and you had that opportunity. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Okay. You can do that again. You absolutely, this is the good news. You can do it again, but you don't want to do the hard work that it takes. I don't know whether it's because you don't believe. And I think that's the issue. You don't believe that you can. And you don't believe in this method.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah.
What you're saying, and that you're right. I mean,
yeah. And so I can't help you. Just to explain, Katt's been going around and around with this and taking 2 steps forward and 3 steps back because this is hard stuff. really, really hard stuff. In other words, it takes not getting your needs met in the here and now in order to potentially get all that you want later on. This takes everything you have. When women do this as part of my lure him back approach, they have to come to terms with doing it, committing to it. I always tell them, though, here's what you're going to find out. I can't, when I work with someone in lure him back, it's a formula and it does work like a charm. And I can't even tell you, it's got to be well more than 95%, almost 99%. The man comes back. I can never say exactly when, and I certainly can't say how, but I know he'll be back. When I tell someone, and I don't ever lie about it, if I think it's not going to happen, I'll say it. But mostly it will happen, so it's easy for me to say because I've been doing this for years. It's formulaic. If you do it in the right way, they just do. So the problem is the doing the hard stuff now, understanding that they will. But here's what I tell every woman. I can't guarantee you 100% that he will. I almost can, but not 100%. No one can give you a 100% guarantee about any person's behavior. But what I can give you a 150% guarantee on is that if you do it and he doesn't come back, you didn't have a hope in hell of getting the complete commitment you want because you kept continuing down this road. Also, nothing works like this as well as this does. If it doesn't, that tells you everything you need to know. Also, what I can guarantee is if you want the relationship you have now, meaning the situationship, the friends with benefits, whatever it is, you can go back to it almost any time because it's the heroine. 9 times out of 10, he's not going to refuse it again. Mm-mm. So this is an important thing to remember. Let's keep going because it's almost done here. And I think it's a great example of this that I so appreciate Katt doing. So y'all hear. I just can't because you have to understand that this is the way it works. And he has that residual feeling for you that can grow, but you won't allow for the time that it's going to take. Yeah. You won't allow for the resetting things. You won't do the you walking away and having no contact that allows for him. You started it. Do you remember when you started it?
Yeah.
And then he did come back. And then you immediately went, and this is all from, again, programming. Hopefully you did hear Lynn's stuff because it's the heavy duty programming. And it's so painful for you to be apart from your love interest, because what anxious attachment is at the heart of it is that if there, think about when if there is a baby without the parent, the mother figure, which is basically the love interest, the terror that they feel. Like they've done studies whereby, they take the mom out of the room of the baby. This is how they do for anxious attachment. Here's a securely attached, and it's a certain age range, right, of the baby. and they have the baby with the mother in the room with the researcher, and the mother leaves the baby. A securely attached baby cries. When the mother comes back, the securely attached baby is soothed. There's two types of attachment insecure: avoidant insecure and just insecure. The insecure baby cries when the mom leaves. When the mom comes back, the baby isn't soothed. I'm talking here about anxious attachment. Just so you know, when the mom comes back into the room and the baby's been crying, it doesn't get soothed in the way that the securely attached baby does. It keeps crying. It's inconsolable. It doesn't fit the amount of time and the anxiety that would be normal to feel. And this is what we know to be anxious attachment. And I go into now avoidant. It takes forever to soothe the baby. So some of this is just intrinsic, you see? A lot of it's learned. But you were probably that one. Avoidant is when the mom leaves, the baby doesn't even cry. And but you can tell it's distressed. But when the mom comes back, it's also not going towards her. He's that.
Hearing that so differently. Yeah.
He's that.
I haven't heard it like that before. It makes so much sense in how he acts.
But you see,
I'm confused by the anxious. That I haven't heard that either, and it.
But you see, if you're not one of you, and this is with all relationships, at least one of you needs to have secure attachment. So let's get you there, because that's something you have control over. You don't have control over him.
No.
But we can change that for you. But you don't believe it, and therefore you don't do it. Now, you can... Let me just finish here. You can either fix it one of two ways. You can do it and see if it works, then you'll believe it. Or you can attempt to believe it and do it. The only two ways. If you keep going this way, all I can tell you is you're going to have the pain you have.
By continuing casually, I guess.
Of course. It's deteriorated to this. But you, because of the attachment needs, negative attention's better than none at all. This is key. This is key if you are anxiously attached. And this is what's happening for Katt. She simply keeps trying to keep the mother figure there, metaphorically. You see, the mother figure, again, from birth to age 7, is the love interest. She keeps trying to keep the mom there because it's so painful when she goes away. Now, this is now, and this is for all of us, because we've all been programmed, one way, shape, or form, that it is transferred to an adult male because our programming is about what love is, and it's unique thumbprint we have of what love actually is. So it's no doubt that Katt has found herself in yet another situationship whereby she is attempting to prove her worth and value and lovability and attempt to get his time, attention, and affection because she is playing out her earliest program experience of what love is. It's that simple. Again, not easy, but it is that simple. So we get into what she needs to do now because although we've been around the bend and she would agree that we have attempted many times, I have told her what needs to be done. She needs to do it. And you just heard our conversation about if you first, you have to believe it. And there's part of her that does, or she wouldn't be here talking to me. But very headstrong in that, even if she does believe it, well, I'm still going to do it my way. And we all know, that silly saying about, the definition of insanity is keep doing the same thing and expecting different results. She keeps doing the same thing and expecting different results, and it is absolutely hurting her. You have to start some time. He has that need for the heroine, but she has the equal need for him as her heroine. Somebody's got to step off, and it's got to be her. Now, he may do it if he's really at the point of it feeling just so icky, so awful. But knowing this situation and this man, he doesn't have a lot of connection in his life. And he does have a love for her. And that's what's so sad for me because I know she can grow it and grow it to a point of him wanting exactly what she wants. I believe it's absolutely possible in her case, but it's going to take at least starting what I'm about to tell her next. So we'll get to that now. And you just keep doing it just to have, because this relationship and most all of them is giving you your programmed experience of what love is. Fraught with emotional upheaval. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think I struggle so much because we had like a great night, and then I feel like I hate saying it, but I feel like I ruined it after that. And
what was the great night? Not before that phone call?
Yeah, before the 2 days before Valentine's Day, he had essentially, like, he went to go hold my hand, and he hasn't done that. It's taken a lot of time to even get there.
And I think we didn't we talk, and I said what you should do for Valentine's Day, and you see the little indications to me. These are the things I listen for when I'm coaching someone. What these little indications that there is some amount of hope here. That may seem really small, but for this guy, knowing their history, the fact that he would go towards and hold her hand is big. It could be the smallest, most insignificant thing for some other man, but for this man, because I know a lot of the history here, it's huge. And unfortunately, Katt doesn't take those signs and hold back, allowing for him to feel safe to come towards her and feel like a man, not his position always usurped. Like the analogy I put, it's like the two of them going out all the time, and every time they step out the door, she jumps in the driver's seat. It's a bit emasculating for the man. So we go into some of the stuff she says for Valentine's Day, and I think it could be valuable for you to listen to here as well.
Instead of, he sent back, before I even say it, I already know I'm.
Just say it because.
You had told me.
Yeah.
Yeah, he said happy Friday. I said happy V-Day. He said happy Friday.
Okay. Yeah. And for him, that's big. The backstory here is that she and I had talked about it, and I said, he doesn't want anything about Valentine's Day. He has told her in the past, I don't like holidays. His family stuff is such that he doesn't want any mention of it. And a lot of guys are like this, like, don't make a big fuss over his birthday. He has told her, and it's a situationship. So when he says, and I don't want mention of Valentine's Day or my birthday or whatever, don't. I used an analogy with Katt when I was talking to her before about it's kind of like, and she pushed it, and of course sent something for Valentine's Day because that's what she wanted. That's not holding back. It's like, and she liked this analogy when I used it with her, that it's kind of like somebody tells you, I'm afraid of snakes. And so you come and step into their home, say hello, and pull a snake out and put it in their face. That's not cool. Just go with what someone else wants and needs. And I'm not saying always acquiesce when it's not in your best interests, but she didn't need to say Happy Valentine's Day. She wanted it. She knew, and we had talked about it, that it would not do her any good to make any mention of it, that he would push back, and that's what he did. So let's hear it, the rest of it.
I had no idea what to do with that.
Nothing, heart it.
Yeah, and I didn't do what you said. I didn't do what you said, and I.
What happened?
Yeah.
What happened? That's what she means. She reached out on Valentine's Day, even though we had talked about don't.
I pushed. I said, that's not how you spell it. Try again. Mm-hmm. And I teased him, and
at least it was. You did it that way.
Yeah. Well, then he said happy Friday. Like he combined.
Okay. All right.
The words.
All right, and that would have been a ha on that, and leave it.
Yeah, I said ha ha. I continued, and I said third time's a charm.
Yeah.
And he said happy, and this is where it's embarrassing. I said happy, or he said happy V-Day with a question mark. Like he couldn't say it normally.
Yeah, so what?
Right.
So what? You're interacting. Do you see that now?
Right.
Do you see that now?
Completely.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
All right. That's all you need then. Okay. So you had a decent night and then you got him on the phone. If you would just get that you must pull back, you must use this radar. And for anyone who's watching, it is using your radar, which is an acronym, RADAR, when a man stops interacting. That's the live. I'll link it below. You can watch it in full because I give you what that acronym is. If you're in a place whereby your man has stopped interacting and it's tweaking you, you need to use this acronym to regulate yourself, get yourself on track. It's super easy. It reminds you. You can follow those steps easily and do it, and it can really be a game changer because that's when you can thwart like what unfortunately Katt's going through. And my heart goes out to her. This is such a great example, and I'm so glad that she did this so that it will help women. And she got a whole load of support on that live, which I'm really glad, telling her she can do it. We talk about how difficult it is, but the most difficult and challenging things in life, when we tackle them and do it, we feel so great. And nothing gets us more in life than doing that. So we're wrapping this up here. So let's get to the final parts of it and end it there. Let's keep going. Commit to it and you start to do it, no matter how painful it is. I'm not saying it's not going to be hard. This could be the hardest thing you will ever do in your life. And that is not hyperbole. Listen, there are awful things in life. War and pestilence and awful disease and death and whatever. But this is your challenge. This is when you do have this kind of attachment issue, right? Mm-hmm. You want to overcome it, and you can. When people say, well, I'm just anxiously attached. Well, okay, you're just keep affirming a problem. Mm-hmm. Let's not do that. Let's change it, right? And you can. You can change this, and through you, he will change. He has a love for you.
Can I ask, even if he is, because what you had said to me the other day was or maybe it was actually, I think I was watching the other night, and you said a good man will, if he doesn't, he will let you go. Mm-hmm. And I do know that when he said to me on the phone the other night, what are we doing? I don't feel good about doing this.
Yeah. He is a good man.
My question is that if you're saying that I could have it, but he does seem to kind of be saying, he said to me, this is casual. I don't want, it's not going to change for me. It hasn't for 6 months, but we've been
yes, because you are not inspiring him as a man. He must start to miss you.
Yeah. Okay.
Gail just said, listen to Paula, do the work. The retreat, pull back, no contact work. It's golden. It hurts, yet so worth it. Did no contact for almost a year for an ex to come back and confess his feelings. Yep. Happens all the time. I mean, all the time.
I think I missed the second A. I have retreat, accept, don't do anything.
Affirm, make the affirmations. What are you going to, what's the change you want? I am changing. I I am so happy and grateful now that I am a secure, worthy opponent who inspires him, put his name, to connect, communicate, and commit. Then get busy on the imaginal act and manifesting it. And you have to make it when we do this work, and it is so painful. It is so tough. You just heard Lynn's story. It is tough. Gail just put, yes. Thanks, Gail. Great comment. You've been through it.
Thank you.
Yeah. You see, so the rest, and you can hear the rest of it, but I'm going to give you a synopsis here on what needed to be done to change this. We go on a bit, and Katt says that after a 3-hour conversation, which, oh my goodness, any man on the phone, the negative feelings he has about being on the phone with you, stuck, not getting anywhere, talking about the relationship and feeling bad about himself, awful. So I don't know whether they did or didn't get together on that Friday, but here was my coaching of her. The worst possible thing is to, after a man says, what are we doing here? I don't feel good about this. I don't want this. And he's calling you out on your situationship, friends with benefits. You must be the one to end it and go to contact. It's the last thing he is expecting. And what does that do? Ding, 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 it's in my book. It makes him wonder. And women love through knowing, but men love through wondering. He will miss you. I was looking at some other experts. It was a guy who was saying there is nothing more valuable in the woman's toolbox than making the man miss you. Men love through wondering and longing. It's yin and yang, night and day, sun and rain, on or off, stop or go, male or female. It's antithetical to us loving through wondering. Yes, we do love a bit through longing, but it's not the same. We need to be with the man, be around him, have him there, connect, because women are all about my 3 C's: connection, cooperation, caretaking. But men are about 3 other C's: challenge, competition, conquering. He doesn't need in the same way you do. And you have to be elusive. So, in Katt's case, it is simply accepting, removing herself from the situation and showing, I have inordinate value for myself. So, in the rest of that live, I coach her on what to do and what to say to get out of Friday, because I know that if he deigns to see her and agree to that, and there's part of him that's a really nice guy and he thinks he's doing nice, but he's so discombobulated in his mind about, being fraught with, I want the heroin. It's just really too bad, because he's just fraught with all kinds of negative feelings, but yet still wanting her and wanting the connection and the physicality they have, but feeling so bad about it inside, because he does have the Madonna whore dichotomy in a big way. And men who do typically feel very guilty about using a woman for sex. Now, some, if they're really high on the scale of Madonna whore, they'll just treat the woman in the second category very badly. Like a rag, terrible. But he attempts to treat her with respect, failing at it because we would say, well, a real man would just forgo the sex, and he would forgo that, knowing that he's not wanting her fully, so he would let her go and be with someone else and blah blah blah. And yeah, he's just not strong enough to do that now, and I think it's in large part because he is generally alone, and she has given him a lot, and he's conflicted. The only way he's going to get out of that conflict is through no contact. This is foundational in my Lure Him Back program. If you need help with it, I can help you with that. Again, there are so many ways to talk to me. You can talk to me on my lives by joining the 80/20 Wonder Club. It's either just a small monthly payment. You can cancel anytime. It's discounted to join for 6 months, and it's even more highly discounted to join for a year. And with a year membership, you can not only talk to me here and you get everything that's in the club, you also get a full coaching intensive experience with me where you get the experience, talk to me personally on an experience on my coaching calls, and that can be really valuable. So it doesn't have to be here in a more public format. But again, there are many ways. The other is to talk to me as an anonymous guest for however long it takes. You heard that conversation. That was a pretty long one because there were only 2 people on that live that night were talking to me. You can do a private consult that's paid, fully recorded for you with a private password to get into the call, to listen to it over and over, to get the coaching from it, and or to talk to me about working with me in one of my programs like Lure Him Back. So you can go to Using Your Radar live. That will, and you saw what I look like there in that live, the dress. The link will be below here. You can go there and get the rest of that conversation with Katt. You can also go from the beginning and hear my conversation with Lynn and get also the information and insights from that. But I know that this, if you are in a situationship, what I tell Katt, what you need to do, how you need to approach it, it's hard, but it's seriously important. And the first thing you must do is make the delineation of, what do I want? And if I want a full relationship with this man, I have to be the one to end it, cut it off, go no contact. All of this is part of my Lure Him Back program because it's the way you do it. You can't just do it in an emotional state. It's not going to have the impact. I give you the wording to do it for your situation. And generally speaking, it's just for anyone's. And I give the wording that the Katt needs to give to him. And hopefully she will come back on. She will let us know if she did not adhere to it or if she did and what the outcome is. But take heed, listen to that video, go over this one again. And please, I ask, if you like this video and content, it helps me to continue to be here and help you and continue in my work to help all women get the love they desire and deserve by subscribing, hitting the like. I can't tell you what that does for the algorithms to help more women see my videos. Otherwise, nobody sees them. That's vital. Like the video, comment, and I do my best to get back to every comment that makes sense according to the information and content in the video. And subscribe and share with someone you know who might be in a situationship or friends with benefits. And hopefully it's helpful. More, as always, all my videos here. I will see you here in the next video. Until then, be safe, be well, and don't forget, with any man in your life, to make him wonder. That's the start. And always. See you next time.